How do we find out? When will we find out who the replacement?
I like that. Where'd you get that?
I made it.
Yeah, the bottle caps? Is that for your presentation tonight?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Here now, have you donated any?
I have a box I have to drop off.
Do you bring out and scan? Do you bring out as
No, I do some at home. I have someone going to drop off these. You know.
Also, when are elections? What happens? Ooh, that's exciting.
What's Thursday?
Student government elections. Those were both my
Actually, what's Thursday? What's Thursday? You said something about Thursday.
student government elections.
Oh, it's, they had them or it's coming?
Oh, wow, okay, so you have a full board. And all contestants or?
Yes. Maybe?
Okay, that's good.
I'm gonna make Danielle and Melissa come next year. You guys are gonna have to be in a game next year.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Ash. How are you? Good, good. TJ? Memorial with these?
Let's teach everyone.
But it also depends on what the board does as far as. What?
they have?
I don't know that. And like for representatives. Oh, is that right?
Don't have a problem with that.
Now that you ask me, I can't think of it.
Hi, Mrs. Swint. Hi, Mrs. Swint. How are you? Good.
Dick, you ready?
I'm ready. Hey, have a seat, buddy. Thank you.
One second.
Are we on?
Not yet, in a minute. About a minute. Now we are. I want to call the Board of Ed meeting from May 22nd, 2023 to order. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Baldowski?
Here.
Mr. Banta?
Here.
Dr. Bertolini?
Here.
Ms. Fay-Belovich?
Present.
Mrs. Mahan?
Present.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Here.
Mr. Spindell?
Present.
Ms. Yorman?
Present.
Mr. Barbarola?
Present.
We have a quorum.
The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Fairlawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, place, and time thereof, was distributed on January 19, 2023. The items to be discussed during the closed work session of the May 22nd, 2023 regular monthly meeting may include personnel matters, student matters, legal matters, negotiations and/or grievances, and tactics and techniques utilized in protecting public safety and property. The results of the discussions will be made public as soon as possible. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our superintendent, Mr. Garcia. I know you want to do the student rep reports, we also have a presentation, so I'll let you decide which order you want to go in.
It's a beautiful night, and there's a lot of people here, so I'm gonna get some fresh air for us. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Yes, we have our student reps who are here tonight, who are gonna present, as always, at our board meetings. I'm sure everybody has a very busy schedule. We will take a couple minutes when our student reps are done, in case they wanna go home and they don't have to spend the rest of the night with us. From there, we have a presentation by our administrators on our wellness day that we had in our district. So they're gonna do a brief presentation, and then we'll jump into our regular monthly scheduled board agenda items. So without further ado, we have Asha from Fairlawn High School, Christopher from TJ Middle School, Matthew and Aiden from Memorial Middle School to give us updates. Start with the middle school.
Memorial Middle School Spring Concert, held on the evening of May 16th, is a captivating showcase of exceptional talent. Families and friends in attendance were treated to an unforgettable evening of musical performances that left a lasting impression. Congratulations to all of the students who performed and to the teachers who tirelessly dedicate themselves to the success of the program. Mr. Glock, Mr. Zeinberg, Mr. Osorio, and Ms. Finkelstein. And we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge music supervisor Mrs. Lopez for her unyielding support. Bravo.
On Monday, May 22nd and Tuesday, May 23rd, our chorus, band, and orchestra performed their spring concert for family and friends. The support by parents at home and the dedication of our teachers, Ms. Cosme, Ms. Lopez, Ms. Silverman, and Mr. Kirk, provided our students with the opportunity to shine and take pride in being a part of the best performing arts departments in the state and country.
Memorial and TJ Middle Schools, in collaboration with Fairlawn High School, are organizing a service learning project for Juneteenth. In addition to in-class activities, we will be hosting a food drive to benefit Bethel Church of Morristown, the first Black American church in Morris County, also known for running the largest food pantry in the region. Fairlawn High School students will personally deliver the collected donations to Bethel Church during their visit on Juneteenth.
The Carnival this past weekend was a great success. Not only did our PTO raise lots and lots of money for school-wide initiatives, families and friends were provided with the opportunity to gather and enjoy each other's company. For the first time this year, thanks to the fundraising efforts of our PTO president, Ms. Lyons, and executive board, students were provided with the opportunity to ride the rides during the school day on Friday at no cost. Students and teachers in each grade level were provided with 1 hour of unlimited entertainment, and we welcome board members to join us next year for a ride on the beast. You cannot talk Carnival and not acknowledge the efforts of Miss Nicole Welch, former TJ parent and PTO president, for all she did to organize and facilitate this event, even though she's no longer as a child teaching. Thank you.
As part of Common Ground, Mrs. Swint and Mrs. Kuipers start their road tour this week as they visit Forest, Ringcrest, and Westmoreland. Common Ground is a cherished memorial tradition which includes many events throughout the year to help our 4th grade students make a successful and smooth transition to middle school. During their visit, Mrs. Swint and Mrs. Kuipers will speak with their 4th grade students about the meaning of Common Ground and generate excitement for their upcoming visit on June 1st. During Common Ground, students will have the opportunity to engage in various activities, such as team building, exploring the building, learning how to read their schedule and open a locker, and fostering excitement about becoming part of our vibrant cultural community.
During the week of June 5th, Mr. Weaver will be visiting with each 4th grade class at Mills, Bradford, and Warrenport for a read aloud as part of their transition to middle school. Parents will visit TJ on June 7th for orientation, and over the summer, our rising 5th graders will visit in small groups of 20 for a day in the life of a 5th grader in 75 minutes or less. Orientation.
As promised during last month's board meeting, getting ready for the Ronald McDonald House Aluminum Tab Update. The staff is dominating the competition and collecting tabs for the noble cause, while students are suspiciously blaming Ms. Swint's competitive tactics. Which may or may not involve tab extraction from unsuspecting neighbors' cans on recycling night.
She's hiding by the refrigerator.
Our collection ends on June 1st, which means that this extended Memorial Day weekend will determine which grade will earn 2 glorious nights of homework-free bliss. Take it away, Aiden.
Good evening, Fairlawn Board of Education. My name is Anna Maloney, and I am in 7th grade at Memorial Middle School. Our tab collection is to benefit the Ronald McDonald House. As I am excited to share with you the update on the tabs collected so far. Our totals as of Friday, May 19th are 5th grade, 5,250. 6th grade, 5,625. 7th grade, 3,750. 8th grade, 3,750. And staff, 9,750. Our school goal is 30,000 tabs. Memorial has collected 28,125 tabs so far. Our collection ends on June 1st. We are so proud of how much Memorial cares. Thank you.
Nice job.
Nice job.
Good job, middle school. Asha, bring it home.
I'd like to touch on Carnival very quickly, as Dr. Bernelli can attest to. I tried to win you a Carnival very hard.
It's very close, very close.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but maybe next year. So as for the high school, we have a lot of end-of-year events coming up, and we're very excited about it. So I'll start off with the math show. The math department put on a successful show at the bookstore that occurred from May 16th to the 21st. It was an incredibly successful show, so thank you to everyone who supported. I'd also like to take this time to recognize our seniors, Gianna Ingrati, Vicky Lyon, Alexi Baranov, Rebecca Pasak, Ariel Alania, Katie Pizzella, and Pamela Tavares. These individuals have been a cornerstone in the department for the past 4 years. They've done incredible work, and our shows wouldn't be what they were without them. Next, we have Marathon, a time-held tradition at the high school. It will be Friday, June 16th and Saturday, June 17th. Student government and other volunteers are preparing for Marathon weekend. We're planning kickball, volleyball, lawn games, food, music, and more. So definitely, if you have a chance, stop in. We would love to see you. Next, we have class council and SGA elections. So SGA and the class council are preparing to hold their elections for the 2023-2024 school year. Officer positions, and these will take place on this Thursday, May 25th. Voter registration was completed this morning, and only students who are registered are eligible to vote, and all these procedures are in place to mimic what a real-life election would look like. We do our best to properly educate the student body on getting involved in their community during voting season, so that's why we do what we do. Primaries were held for the position of vice president, and all final elections will take place May 25th after election assemblies in the morning, where each candidate will get to deliver their speech. I can also tell you who your next Board of Education representative will be. It will be Prima. She's our junior class president right now. She'll do an amazing job. I'm very proud of her, and I'm very excited for what she'll do.
That's awesome.
And lastly, I have a couple of class events just to report on. Once again, seniors are having their prom May 31st, and their class trip to Six Flags on June 9th. Sophomores and juniors are having their class trip to Joint Park on June 11th. So as I close my final report, I would like to say thank you for all of the support and encouragement that the board has consistently given to student government at the high school. We are so grateful to have a board that's so passionate and dedicated to our students' success. A special thank you to Ms. Marcia for the amazing job that you've done in leading as superintendent. You will definitely be missed, and we're very excited for your new chapter. I look forward to hearing and seeing all the amazing things that this district does. So once again, thank you.
Thank you, Asha. Asha, it's been a privilege to get to know you the last couple of years. You are just an amazing student, amazing person. You're going to do great things in life. We know that. Prima has big shoes to fill, but I know she's up for the task. And I couldn't think of a better person for you to hand the torch off to than Prima. Well done. We wish you the best in your future, and stay in touch. Great job. Great job, everyone.
Asha, we might see you up here in about 5 years. No, Pam, so we need your voice. Great job.
At this point, we're going to take a couple-minute break so we can get the table out of here. Make yourself comfortable if you need a little more room. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks,
I have a couple of pictures. If you guys email me, I can send you pictures of them here, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, the one I'm
No, and I decided I would get it, judging the possession, just to get it over.
Camille.
And my mother took me all the way.
It's funny, I was actually listening to an interview, and he said, because he's got like a new album, and he's the advocate, and he was saying that.
Oh, well, that way, that way.
Advice with gardeners, and like something in high school, like he could go in with his career and gardeners and college, live your life. This is actually will always be here, but he says you have nothing to write about your experience. So it's like, you know, he was just saying it was the best advice he could have. Live his life so that he had
I feel like though when you're young, you know, but you don't
I get that. But, you know, it's for the best. You have that experience.
I don't know. I've never heard of
Good, how are you?
Like, they were it was so ironic because this one course.
Yeah.
It was like,
Good, how you doing?
and it was like only 2 weeks, and that's been my entire career. I asked 2 years, and they're like, oh, you know, not a lot of people use this, you know, we're allowed to touch on it for like TV, blah, blah, blah. And then another thing was that they were talking about was, oh, we're gonna teach them.
Everybody else did.
Because what you every day, every day's a
Amen.
I
like that.
Every day's a and which was true. I just found out that I was 2 weeks governmental in my whole college career. And it wasn't until I started working that I understood what they were talking about. Like documentary accounting, like
How old are they now? How old are they?
We volunteered again this year.
Here you go.
Just wait till we're in the moment with how much energy we got on that.
That would be.
Yeah, yeah. It is.
I'm not switching, I'm not switching.
Yep.
Okay. Are you, are they ready?
Yep.
All right. Grab them right now. All right, can we resume? We're gonna resume the meeting. At this time, I'm gonna ask everybody to get the attention. We have a presentation by our teacher.
Want me to introduce that?
Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone. As you know, one of our district goals this year was around wellness and what we could do for our staff and students coming out of the pandemic. Mental health is something that, you know, we've been talking about for many years in Fairlawn, and it's something that we will continuously look at and look to improve on. It's not something that is going away. It is something that we need to ensure that it's not just our students, but it's our staff as well. We all feel burnout, all of us, at some point in our lives, and it's important that, you know, we assess that and we hit the reset button when we need to. So one of the things that we wanted to do, instead of forcing our staff to sit through more training on how to give a test, it was a professional development just geared around wellness. We had a wellness team spearheaded by our Assistant Superintendent, Camille DeFranco, Supervisor of Counseling, Brenda Gupta, Nicole Matina, Fairlawn High School Vice Principal, and Jen Lebonsky, one of our tech coaches at the high school. These four are going to present to you on our District Wellness Day.
Thank you for the introduction. We're really excited to tell you exactly what happened that day and how well it went, no pun intended. So here's our agenda for the presentation. We're going to talk to you a bit about who's on our wellness committee and how all of our people in the district participated. We're going to speak to our survey that we sent out, how we planned it, how we involved multiple stakeholders, how we incorporated student wellness, because even though this was a wellness day, a PD day is designed for staff throughout the year, we had several wellness activities for all of our students. We're going to talk about choose your own wellness theme, which was kind of the heart and center of all of this. Event details, you'll see our Padlet survey at the end for our staff, pictures and a video, and I need to give a big nod to Dr. Stephanie Baptiste-Bosco, who created that for us and put a lot of time and effort into it, even right up until a few minutes before, so thank you. So our wellness committee consisted of representatives from all levels, including teachers, school counseling staff, CST, contracted staff, administration. The committee met, we definitely met 4 times. It felt like more than that. We were trying to go through all of our notes and our details. We probably had a few meetings towards the end where it was subgroups that got together to work out the finer details. And it took a lot of planning and it took a lot of effort. And we have a lot of motivated, great people here in Fair Lawn throughout the whole entire district, and you're gonna see who that was in a minute. As you can see, we had central office, district administrators, teachers, counselors, and CST. A great sampling of many people within the district who volunteer their time in order to give all of this effort on this day, who were so passionate about this subject and wanted to make sure that everything was incorporated for the day to make sure that this was wonderful and perfect for our staff. We're going to switch out a little bit as we talk about it.
So in planning and developing the staff wellness, we wanted to make sure we understood, we heard, and we recognized our staff, right? Hearing their voices was very important. So we created a survey that touched on different parts of wellness. So we went down to the basics. What do you define as wellness? As a staff member, how do you practice wellness? What are you looking for in a wellness PD? So making sure that we can understand, that staff realize and recognize different parts of their wellness and how we can integrate that into our PD. We identified different staff members for the district committee. That involved collaborating with district personnel, principals, staff, identifying staff who wanted to come and be a part of the journey, as well as understand the work that was behind it. We created student committees. So we're nothing without our students, right? That makes us what we do best. So we made sure that each level, each building had a student committee that was able to participate in a student wellness dialogue at each building. We met with the district committee, as Mrs. DeFranco said, several times, and during our first few meetings, we really spoke about what our staff needed. A lot of our committee members expressed that our staff would like some time, they would like some activities that would help them recoup, regenerate, find their zest of what makes them want to become educators and come every day. So we heard that, we listened to them, we were able to create and develop a really nice wellness day that was successful. So we developed a plan, and the plan first started off by understanding what our staff was looking for. We used the staff results, where a lot of staff identified they like to do artistic work, they like to work out, they like to read, they like to participate in activities. So beyond just what makes them in the educational focus, but really understand what makes them happy, right? So we tailored our workshops according to what our staff said, what our staff expressed. I'm going to just go back 1 second because I want to make sure I highlight that we collaborated with all different organizations in our district. So that went down to custodial staff, our tech department was fabulous, our PTO, which we're going to give a shout out in a minute. Every single member, every staff member in our district contributed significantly to this wellness day. So thank you to our PTO in every building. They provided our staff with a raffle. So baskets included gift cards, activities such as like massages, different types of wellness activities and treats inside of a nice basket, and our staff was very surprised. So each building held a raffle at their own level, and at the end of the day, on March 20th, the principal announced the wellness winners, which we'll go into in a minute. Our local businesses, thank you very much to Cozy Cafe, House Cafe, and Starbucks for donating coffee beans, and different kind of activities that allowed a few presenters to present on coffee and healthy drinking habits with caffeine. So these were our wellness PTO basket winners. They were very excited. and they definitely put the baskets to good use. We thank all the PTOs and PTAs in the building because they gave our staff an opportunity to have fun, and it really was a nice surprise for them.
So while I present to you the details of the workshop details of the actual afternoon, I'd like you to reflect on two themes throughout this, which are, please recognize how, as Ms. Gupta pointed out, there was collaboration at all levels in going into the planning and implementation and reflection required afterwards for this day. Additionally, it's easy to look at a day like this and say that we were discussing staff wellness largely on a personal level. However, if you felt the energy in the building that afternoon that brought us into, this was a Monday afternoon, that brought us into that Tuesday morning, there's no doubt that the trickle-down effect happened exactly the way the committee planned it, which was it reinvigorated the staff in both our classrooms and our offices for a more successful final third of the school year. So as a number of people have said, the planning started with a staff survey, and coming out of that staff survey, the Wellness Committee highlighted themes that were necessary to drive the workshops that would be offered that day. Once we had those themes, the Wellness Committee reached out to all staff, all district staff, and asked for individuals or pairs or even teams of people who were interested in coordinating, designing, coordinating, leading workshops, something that they're passionate about, that they can see also fulfilling the needs of the Fair Lawn community. We were thrilled to get a total of 33 workshops offered. And in the time that I've spent in Fair Lawn, we've done a number of these professional development days of colleagues presenting to colleagues on a number of different topics. And what was remarkable, besides the fact that they're our best professional development days, what was remarkable about this one was traditionally it's been teachers presenting to other teachers, and we really had that first theme that I asked you to think about, which was that many of our both building and district level offices were presenting because wellness is not unique to our classrooms, but many of the themes that we recognize that our staff recognize as being necessary are true for all of us in our different positions. So once the Wellness Committee had coordinated what ended up being 33 workshops, the entire Fair Lawn staff received an email with 2 links. And the first link was to a brochure that highlighted, you'll see the themes that we've spoken of a few times in this brochure. And it highlighted both the themes and all 33 workshops with their presenter, the title, the presenters, and what the presenters' goals were for that session. So here you see the themes: food and drink, get moving.
This will be on the district website within the next couple of days as well.
Be creative, which was a popular offering as well as attended workshop, theme for a workshop. So there is in fact 2 slides in the Be Creative realm. Next, I believe, I'm gonna miss it, is self-exploration, lifestyle, and finally organization. And finally organization, which focus both personally and professionally.
And what Jen has not mentioned, because she is modest but deserves some recognition for this, is that she created that brochure that was sent out to staff. So it was a wonderful brochure and very animated, and everyone was really excited to see it.
Thank you. So as I said, there was 2 links that the Fair Lawn community received, that the entirety of the staff received. The first was the link to the brochure. The second was a link to an electronic sign up. And that was really the first time we've done these sign-ups that way, and it was such a nice way to do it, the thought that went into it, because each of these workshops could fit a certain number of individuals. And so some ones that were housed in certain classrooms could hold more or less number of participants, and thus the sign-up genius that we used allowed staff to know right away how many spots there were, so how quickly they needed to attend to that sign-up.
Excuse me, 1 second. Everybody please silence their phones, please. Okay, when you come to here, please sign them. Thank you. Go ahead.
Again, as someone else spoke to, while all of this was going on in the planning of the workshops, so many of our offices in the background were working so that we were completely prepared for the day. So student services and the business office purchased the materials needed for a workshop, and including our wellness shirts that all presenters and members of the wellness committee got for that day. As well as we were lucky enough to house this in Fair Lawn High School, and both our custodial staff and our building technicians worked tirelessly to make sure that the physical logistics and the electronic logistics were prepared for both the presenters and the attendees. And finally, after the event, again, recognizing the energy that we all brought out of these outstanding workshops, one of the very dedicated wellness committee members, Christina Cernadas, had suggested, as we've done in the high school for a number of activities, is to create a Padlet, which is a digital wall, for lack of a better word, and it is linked towards the end, for attendees to share their feedback with their feedback and gratitude really for the presenters for creating the workshops, as well as everyone to express their appreciation to the Wellness Committee for putting together such a thoughtful afternoon for us. And so I would like to, on top of thanking our custodial staff and our technicians for their hard work on a daily basis and on this afternoon, thank all the presenters who again volunteered to present for the good of all staff and ultimately our students.
Calls up.
Hi everyone. So while I'm going to talk a little bit about the specifics of how this day ran, it's important to remember that wellness wasn't just one day in Fair Lawn. The district really did a lot to substantiate this goal, and it's been an ongoing practice to incorporate wellness into everything we do in terms of giving back time during department and faculty meetings. The Friday wellness days for staff has really been super impactful in terms of doing something, taking action to give teachers the time they need to rest, to recover, to plan, or do whatever it is they need to do. So again, while this was one really wonderful day, this has been a year-long goal that's been, continually addressed. So we talked about the survey a lot, and it feels like we're in the age of surveys. We're constantly sending out surveys because it's a fabulous tool. It's a great way to reach the masses and find out what we want to know to make our programs more effective and to plan in efficient ways. And we really do comb through that data and look at that feedback carefully. And it was the survey that allowed us to plan for the day, starting with lunch. Food is important, and often teachers aren't given the proper time to sit down and take in a meal. We kind of take that for granted sometimes. They're multitasking, they're eating on the go. So lunch, for some folks, this lunch was it was an extended lunch. It was more than they typically get. And then starting the day at the high school with this meet and greet session allowed for a little bit of extra time. And the meet and greet session was a really great opportunity for the whole district to come together in one place at the same time. And to see the whole community together physically in one space. Someone spoke to the energy in the building. You could feel it. It's nice to just see your coworkers that you don't get to often see because they're in other buildings. Catch up, collaborate, whether it's about something professional or something personal. It really was a nice opportunity to have that and meet up. And we haven't had that since before COVID. We used to start out the year that way when the staff returned in early September. So that was a really nice thing to bring back. After that, everyone headed into their workshops, and then the day concluded with a bit of time for people to debrief, reflect, just catch up, hang out at their cars and talk. So the schedule really lent itself to time to just be well. Just to address some of the unsung heroes and the behind the scenes folks, we had our custodial staff working really hard in the days leading up to this event, making sure that all of the spaces were properly equipped with enough desks and chairs and all of the things needed. Our student leaders, including our National Honor Society, who acted as tour guides, bringing in folks, showing people who don't work in the high school which classroom spaces they were going to report to. Our Bridges program designed artwork which was hung in the entryway in the building, making it really inviting. They had some inspirational posters you can see here. And then our high school tech department, who are phenomenal. They made sure that all of the spaces were outfitted with the proper technology, including the box lights, speakers if necessary. There was a ton of planning that went into this day, and you don't often see all the behind the scenes stuff. So these are the folks who really deserve a big shout out. Christina Cernatas, who is our high school webmaster, created a welcome video, which was playing on the digital screens as staff came in. Was a really nice touch as well.
And just like Brenda mentioned earlier at the start of the presentation, student wellness was a part of our theme for the entire year. We just wanted to highlight several things that each school did, such as school themes. Lindcrest, their theme for the year was flamingo, and then they incorporated flamingos for wellness, which I thought was such a cool play on words, and I had to put that at the top. Our schools had school committees, especially at the middle school level, to review lunch. Do they like lunch? Do they want to make additions to lunch? What is their favorite lunch? So that was a big piece of student wellness. There were just because recognitions and galleries of gratitude that each building acknowledged what students did, what teachers did, and that was either hung up or had an assembly to acknowledge those students. One of my favorite ones here is because it incorporates a previous year goal, just like we're talking about this school year, it's an extension goal. Our high school students, a direct quote from one of them in the student committees was, "SEL is helpful." And I mean, how powerful is that? Because that means that our committee that got together, the curriculum that was given and created, that is now having an impact on students. We had AP roundtables, which talked about how to de-stress. We had workshops for athletes on how to de-stress. We added social skills groups led by contracted staff and CST. That was mostly at the elementary level, which was wonderful because they came back with direct feedback to the building principal saying, hey, I want to learn how to do this, and that was really wonderful for our 3rd and 4th graders, and especially our 4th graders moving up to the middle school level. We had wonderful morning inspirational announcements. We had recess extension, flex time, choice time. These are just like the teachers wanted time and asked for more time and received extended lunch and time to collaborate with their peers and have a nice day. The students wanted the same. And we also had music at recess and lunch on certain days, which, you know, it can go a very long way and be very uplifting and upbeat for our students.
So in a minute, I'll pull up the Padlet feedback. The Padlet feedback was sent to staff a few days after our workshops had ended. When we looked at the feedback, you know, it almost brought a tear to our eyes because it's so uplifting to see how many staff members were so excited and they were thankful. And so that's like the best thing we could take away is that our staff wanted more, right? They were actually upset. They said we wanted more of this workshop, and hopefully we can do that in the future. But it's really nice to see our staff coming together, collaborating with one another, enjoying the time, taking time for themselves, and being able to reflect in a way that can help them. So hopefully this pulls up. I'll skim it through. It does work.
It's gonna. There we go.
There you go.
Some staff members also took photos of their activities that they did.
So though these they're Post-its, this digital wall. They are anonymous because we wanted people to be able to be honest about their feedback, but these are all posted by different staff members who attended the various workshops.
As you can see, somebody just took a picture of the crocheting board, very proud. That's awesome.
And I would say probably every single one of our workshops received a nod from someone.
Yes.
Which was really nice for the presenters to see, because everyone got to view this at the same time.
What was really nice was, you know, I know that they alluded to this, but every single person in district was invited. Every secretary, every paraprofessional, every teacher was encouraged to go to this. This wasn't just about wellness for the teachers, this was about wellness for every staff member we had. So it was really nice to see all 1,000 staff members we have at Fairlawn High School that day together.
And now we have a video which will give you some highlights, and you can see some of the workshops in action for our conclusion.
so good. Do it again.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Great job.
Thank
as
you,
usual.
thank you,
Great job.
great job, everyone.
Camille, I assume that's something we plan on doing every year. So I'll put the pressure on you.
Bigger and better next time.
Yes, bigger and better.
When we invite the public, we can do some cool things in that. Like,
There were really some wonderful workshops, and people had a lot of good backups too, so, and I have a feeling we might even, now that we've been through it once, people might sign up for even more, so.
It was awesome.
really wonderful.
It was
Thank you.
amazing, great job.
Mr. Nossi, do you have any other comments that you need to make?
I do not.
Okay. All right, at this time, we're gonna open up the public comments on anything on the agenda. If you have something to say, please step up to the mic, sign your name on the book, just state your name and where you live, do not give us your address. Is there questions or comments on the agenda? Is there anything on Google?
If anybody writes in, I'll let you know.
Okay. Board members, any questions on the agenda? Mike?
6C, so nice to see so many student teachers in Fairlawn continuing. We get a lot of great teachers from the student teachers that we accept. I looked at the donations by the PTAs and other people and other girls, Girl Scouts, Radford PTA, Milnes PTA, Flace, Mrs. Wall, I think it is, soccer balls for Milnes. Milnes, $10,000 worth of trips. Incredible, incredible, incredible. I just want to just call your attention to 1100, which is our cooperating agreement with the town on getting Memorial Pool for our summer camps that the Board of Ed runs. Years ago, whenever we did something between the town and the Board of Ed, we went back and forth with money. And we cut a lot of that out because it takes paperwork, it takes manpower and everything else. And the money is coming from the same pool, taxpayers. So it didn't make sense to nickel and dime everything that we did. And that was a big chunk that we actually removed from our budget for the use of Memorial Pool. So I just wanted to remind everybody that that's something that has gone on for a few years now. That's it, that's all I have, thanks.
Julie?
I'm not gonna repeat what Mike said, so thank you for the
Sorry.
donations. No, it's okay. I was really excited to see the 5 tech interns this year on our board agenda. There's nothing better than seeing our students get involved throughout the year, but the fact that these 5 Fairlawn High School students are getting to do the work that we see our tech department do all year long and really get ahead of what I assume might be what their strong interest and passion is in. It makes it worth it. It makes it worth it to sit here and see that we are giving our students what they want and what they need in order to be the most successful member of society. So, congratulations to those 5 students.
Next. Lisa?
I know that probably nobody's here from the presentations by the students, but they did a great job. The fundraisers for the Ronald McDonald House is incredible. My family has had the opportunity to stay in that Ronald McDonald House a few times during my kids' medical lifetime, and they give their all. They make it very acceptable for somebody that's going through a terrible medical crisis. And we stayed in the Midwest as opposed to staying locally, but they all do the same, and we really greatly appreciate that. Under 10P, we are looking at switching food service companies, and I would like to table the choice of the food service company after I just did a little bit of Google searching, and I didn't feel comfortable with what I saw in the reviews, and that's kind of what I go by. So I'm asking to table 10P, and if I can get a second on that. Second. And if we can just discuss.
We have a motion to table 10P and a second. Any questions or comments on the motion? Go ahead.
I think we should have, every day students eat at food lunches. I think in committee to pick the food service, I think teachers should be involved, parents should be part of the committee. I also think the school nurses should be part of the committee. I think it should be more than just 5 people part of the committee. I also think that's one of my biggest issues. And I also looked at the reviews and they were not great. And I also looked at a school district that actually has this company. And unfortunately, the food there, the pictures that the company presented as their good pictures didn't look very good or appetizing to me. So I would either, I would like to table it and figure out maybe we can have a committee or somehow so that all the stakeholders that eat the lunches every day are going to be involved in making. So, thank you.
Ed.
I've dealt with Mashos in my former district, and I felt that they were very collaborative with the district. For example, one thing that my former district did was ban chocolate milk, and they were cooperative with that, even though they lost some money in it. I thought they, during the year, they met with students to have a student tasting of the different food items that they would like. And I found them to be very cooperative, very collaborative with the schools, with the administration in each of the schools. I was high school principal then. And then with the students, we had many food tastings throughout the year. So I'm in support of Mashos. And I'm also concerned that since the contract with the other companies running out June 30th, correct?
Yes.
That we would need another food service quickly. But I'm also, I've had experiences with Mashos. I've not gone on different websites. I've had experience tasting their food, eating their food, and the kids have been, in my former district, were pleased with the food service.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yes, you can.
So, thank you. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for everybody that came out tonight. This was not done in isolation. This was done through a very extensive bid process. There were other people invited to sit on this committee who could not make the committee. That was not just made up of administrators. This was a very extensive rubric that was filled out by each person on the committee. We sent it out to all different food service providers out there. In addition, the board was provided a very detailed explanation of why we were going with this company, and this is the first we're hearing of it right now at this meeting. Also, I would like to let you know that just because, and we've had this conversation, this isn't our first rodeo when it comes to food service companies, but just because if you're utilizing XYZ company in Fair Lawn and you looked at XYZ company in another town, the food that they're serving could be vastly different based off of what the school district is asking for, or maybe what type of contract they have there. So our expectations for food and what we work out with them could be very different than the expectations of that particular district, and maybe where they don't want to spend, because they're looking to make a little bit more revenue, and things that are really important to us from the feedback that we receive. So I caution you that, yes, looking at food from another school district compared to here, it's different. District to district, company to company, contract to contract. So the devil is in the details when it comes to that. But this is the first I'm hearing of it tonight. We had sent this letter home over a week ago to our board, and this is the first that it came up. But it was a very extensive RFP process that was out there on our website, open to the public, open to, it's funny?
No, me and.
All right, I'm done with my comments.
Joe?
Just echoing many of the things the superintendent mentioned there. I do believe that this is the right choice because we have been hearing that there is not dissatisfaction with the current food in our schools. And I want to thank Danielle for spearheading this in just her short amount of time already here, listening to the public concerns that we're not happy with what our students are being fed at the moment. And thank you for sending a very detailed email to the board last week to provide why they were going with this service. There are a limited number of services out there that can provide the amount of food that our district goes through, being that we are such a large district. And I just wanted to confirm that this is a one-year contract that we are approving, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And so it gives us
Yes.
the ability to reevaluate whether the community is satisfied, whether our students are receiving what they need. So due to the fact that we are on a limited time frame and we need a food contract in place for the fall, otherwise all of our parents are gonna have to cook every day. I will be in support of this, so thank you.
Any other board members? Mark?
Yes, I just want to know, do you consider the wellness program part of the agenda or off the agenda? Because I want to speak on it.
Well, we're still on the motion right now. I'm still discussing the
Okay.
motion. You can speak on that as soon as I go back to the agenda. Right now, I've got the comments on the motion. Any other comments, Lisa?
Just real quick.
One more.
The first Google search led me to Yelp, and there were pictures of raw chicken. And that was just an initial Google search. So that I felt was to have an initial look at what they have to offer and to see raw chicken, and that bothered me. And there was some of us did talk, just not it.
Okay.
I will caution you, once again, as part of our process, we actually speak with other school districts do reference checks to what it is like working with them, as well as our consultants advocate who we use. But, Google and Yelp can't be the basis of making educated decisions for the District of Fair Lawn. I thank you for bringing that to us, but we have to follow the strict guidelines of an RFP process, because that's what we're bound to by a school district.
I'm gonna just let Danielle speak. Go ahead, Julie. Go ahead, Julie.
Not everyone in this room likes the same food. I have two kids, one really likes school lunch, he could eat one of those muffins or the chicken popcorn things every time it's on the menu, the other one won't touch school lunch. So I think that being able to give us the opportunity to try something new and see how that goes. Listen, I have to make lunch for one of my kids every single day, the other one will eat a plastic wrap muffin, it is what it is. We're not gonna all enjoy the same meal, we don't have the same, dietary restrictions, so we just need to consider the fact that most people are more likely to write things they're unhappy about than write things that are positive. Unfortunately, that's just the society we live in right now. So I'm with Joe on this. It is a one-year contract. If we are unhappy, then we go back to the drawing board and look for additional vendors for when we open an RFP.
Thank you. I'm gonna let Danielle make one comment, and then we're gonna call the vote.
So just for some background as to why we decided to go to an RFP in this particular year is there was a fixed cost contract in place. So what that means is that with the ever-rising price of food, which we all complain about, our food shopping, so produce, all of our poultry, meats, anything like that obviously has had a significant rise in cost over the past few years. Because this contract was put in place, I think about 5 years ago? Maybe about 4 years ago. Because it's a fixed contract, we're not able to raise any prices, which is obviously the market right now. So in order to ensure that our students are having the best quality of food provided to them, we had to go into what's called a cost reimbursable contract. So just so everyone is aware, that is the basis, is so that we can provide our students with better quality food. Part of this process was absolutely getting student input as part of our process going forward on menus and nutrition and items that they like to see, including them in tastings, creating committees where we have our PTA parents and we get our building principals involved, and making sure that us as a business office, we're communicating better with our community about what you want to see, making sure that we're aligning with the nutritional values of our parents. So this program definitely has a long way to go. As Mr. Norcia said, it's a very thorough process. I commend the board for having consultants such as Advocate in place, which write specifications that say exactly what needs to be included in your food program to be aligned with the National School Lunch Program. So this is a very thorough process. We have great partners in Advocate, and looking forward to a fresh start with everyone.
Thank you. Call vote, please. On the motion.
So that we're clear,
Clear up.
may I?
What a yes vote is, what a no vote is, so make sure.
Okay, so, do you want to explain or you want me to explain?
You're the boss.
Okay. So you voted yes to table the motion, vote no to not table the motion. Simple as that. Okay? Roll
Yes,
call.
yes, you are not in support of mass shows, no, you are in support of mass shows.
No.
No.
Well,
The motion is to table
yes.
the vote on it.
I know, that's what I'm saying, if you say,
If you say yes, then you want to
There
table.
still has to be another vote.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Baldowski.
No.
Mr. Banta.
I vote no to table, to be clear.
Dr. Bertolini.
No.
Ms. Favela-Vich.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
No.
Mr. Rosenberg.
No.
Mr. Spindell.
No.
Ms. Yorman.
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo.
No. Motion fails.
Motion fails to table 10P.
Correct.
and it wasn't voted.
All right, Mark, you had a comment you wanted to make on the agenda?
I just wanted to compliment all those who were involved in the Wellness Day. My question.
Excuse me, can we please give the man his attention?
My
Thank you.
question originally was there any data on it to see if it was really successful? And obviously, you answered that it was quite successful. So I'm asking you to possibly consider next year, because I know you're going to do it next year, doing it twice, sometime around maybe November, December, and sometime, April or May, so that you get the full effect from this. And also, a very integral part, which I think could really benefit from this, are workshops for the parents on mindfulness, because they too are struggling, not only the teachers and students, and it trickles down from the parents to the students. So a happy parent makes a happy student, and a happy student makes a happy educational system. So I appreciate it if you considered us. Thank you.
As an outgoing superintendent, I think twice a year is a great idea. As a practical superintendent, I do. This is something that we love. We would love to see it increased. Obviously, while we work within the confines of the school calendar and seeing if maybe it's increased to a full day, if there's another time we could do it, because it was so successful that this wasn't just a one and done type thing. So wherever we could try to figure out to fit in more time would definitely be a goal of ours, because we had said, if we could get more time out of this, this would have been awesome. If maybe we could have got 2 sessions in or something. So we are gonna play with it to see if we can increase it in the future.
Please do not forget the parents, though.
I will not.
Well, you forgot about it already.
I don't know.
I'm talking about those that are here.
I would not.
Thank you.
All right, is there any other more comments on the agenda for the board? Leader?
For 6E, I'm glad the teachers were able to pick out that anatomy and physiology textbook. I think that's awesome. For 5B, I wanted to ask the comprehensive equity plan. Is that a public document or not?
I don't think that that's anything that can't be shared publicly.
Is there a way we can put that on the agenda, like as an attachment?
Put it on the agenda as
Well,
an
as an
Website.
What's that?
As an attachment, because it's.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a couple of mistakes on it with the years for the policies, regulations. I only looked up 4, and they were, for example, regulation 5750, it says it was created in 92, but on the policy on our website, it says it was created in 2007.
If you could do me a favor,
Revised. And let's not get into every great policy, because we've been trying to get through the policies to update them. So the next policy meeting, we are gonna get through in one way or another, if we're gonna be here till 2 o'clock in the morning.
if you could do me a favor, if there's a mistake or a date on there that you saw in the comprehensive equity plan, if you could send it to us so we could check to see why that date is not accurate and if we need to update it. Just so you know, let me just explain the comprehensive equity plan. Comprehensive equity plan is a plan every several years that a school district has to update to make sure that your policies are up to date for specific policies that the Department of Education requires you to have. Every year, for the last couple of years, they just allow you to do a statement of assurance, which says that our plan is up to date, our policies are okay, and we could just do it once a year, yes, it's good, and then every couple of years, they'll say, okay, now you have to write a new plan. So we're still working off our existing plan, and if there's any outdated policies, we do update those policies when need be. Currently, right now, there is one policy that is out of date that we haven't gotten to in our policy meetings, so we do need to update that policy, hopefully by the June board meeting. But it's the comprehensive equity plan, it's basically a list of 30 or so policies that have to make sure that they're always updated to make sure that the district is in good standing, and then we just update them on a yearly basis. Thank you.
Anything else?
And one more thing, the job descriptions that we're, is it for new positions or positions already there, we're just updating them? That's what I couldn't.
Both. Is that accurate? Both.
Both positions already exist.
Oh, both positions exist, it's not new positions?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we're gonna go to the agenda. All right, I need a motion to approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second, please. Fine, there's no minutes to approve? No. No? Okay. The last time I missed it, so I figured let's start.
So moved.
Okay.
We're switching over.
Okay.
Take it back.
So, okay, well, that's nice. All right. Can I have a motion for 5A to 5C, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mike and Mark. Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favela?
No on 5B and abstain on 5C.
And no on 5B, correct? Okay. Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes for everything except 5B, and I'll abstain.
5B abstain. Okay. And Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I have a motion for items 6A to 6E, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favela?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I need a motion for approval of items 7A to 7M.
So moved.
Second.
And it's M as in Mary.
Excuse me? You guys didn't say 7M?
Yeah, it says M.
It says M.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I was just saying. Can I have roll call, please?
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favela?
No on 7AA, 7AC1, 7AC2, a 7CC1.
7AA, 7AC1, 7AC2, and 7CC1 are all no, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and yes on
everything.
okay. Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
No on 7M as Mary, yes on everything else.
Ms. Yorman?
No on 7AA, and no on 7AC. I'm going to abstain, and yes on everything else.
7AC is abstain, right?
Yeah, and I think,
No on 7AA, right?
yeah.
I missed 7M, sorry.
Okay. And that's a no, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. 7M. Okay. And Mr. Barbarulo?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations.
So, actually, we'll save the comments for that.
Yeah, we'll save the comments. Can I have a motion for items 8A to 8E?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favela?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
I didn't hear the numbers.
It
8-8,
was.
8-8.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No problem.
Mr. Barbarola?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Need a motion for items 9A to 9C, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarola?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I need a motion. This is a long one.
10A through 10R.
What?
10A through 10R.
10A through 10R.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
No on 10P?
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
No on 10P, and yes on those.
Mr. Barbarola?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can I have a motion for items 11A through 11UU?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Baldowski?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
No on 11O and 11RR.
Mrs. Mahan?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Yorman?
No on 11O and 11RR, no, yes on everything else.
Mr. Barbarola?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna open up the non-agenda items to the public. Yes.
You mind if I just say something real quick?
Yes. one second.
So,
Yeah, you're gonna
I think-
say- you're gonna say it? Okay, go ahead.
I think it's
One
important.
second, please, 1 second.
I think it's important for everybody to just recognize, obviously, as the outgoing superintendent leaving Fair Lawn, I am very proud to see the continuity of what just happened in front of you, that our acting superintendent is going to be Ms. Camille DeFranco, while the board does a search for the next superintendent. So there was 2 motions on this agenda. One, to appoint Ms. Camille DeFranco, our assistant superintendent, as acting superintendent, as well as another motion to hire a search firm to begin the process of looking for the next superintendent. This is really important, so that there's continuity in administration, the district, the goals, and the vision of this district to continue moving forward. So I have all the faith in the world, and I'm extremely proud of Mrs. Camille DeFranco and the Board of Education members who supported this recommendation that was before you. So in July, when I depart, Ms. Camille DeFranco will be the acting superintendent. You will be left in good hands while the board begins the process very shortly to start looking at who the next long-term superintendent may be. So congratulations, Camille. All right.
Okay, at this time, I'm gonna open up the comments to the public on non-agenda items. Again, as I stated, please state your name. Sign in. You have to sign in. You have, excuse me? No, I don't. And, excuse me. You got, 1 second. Got a question?
I do, about what Mr. Garcia was just saying.
But
So
there's, you're gonna have to, sorry, Mel.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
You're
wait. You gotta wait till I go
stand
through
up.
it and then stand up, okay? Just so you understand, you have 3 minutes to speak. So when we get that time, we have a timer on. We'll tell you when you're down to 30 seconds. Okay, so state your name and where you live, not your street address.
Mr. Berman, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Also, I know there's a lot of new faces in the audience, and welcome. This is not a back and forth, this is public comments. So what I will do, I will write down all of your questions or comments, and then when they're all done, I will do my best to try to respond to all of them. I may have to look into them and get back to you, but if you're asking me a question from there, we're not gonna engage and go back and forth, but for the process and for our board agenda, I will just write everything down and do my best to answer them at the end. Thank you.
Go ahead.
My name is Naor Meyer. I'm a Fairlawn resident and parent. I live in Geiger Place. I would like to read from a petition which was signed by almost 300 members of our community. Fairlawn school system is one of the main reasons we all decided to make Fairlawn our home. Currently, the Fairlawn World Language Program offers 3 foreign languages, Spanish, French, and Chinese. However, it has been many years since Fairlawn has last done a revision and reached out to its community to solicit their interest and update Fairlawn's world language offerings accordingly. Therefore, we propose adding Hebrew to our district world language curriculum offering. Fairlawn has an increasingly active Jewish community that encompasses Jewish Americans, Russian-speaking Jewish Americans, and Hebrew-speaking Jewish Americans. These residents have been investing time and effort in teaching and maintaining Hebrew language skills to their children. There are many students in our district who already have some facility with understanding and or speaking Hebrew, and offering a course that follows a curriculum set forth by the district would prepare them for true command of the language and will likely save thousands of dollars for many families in Fairlawn who currently use private education for Hebrew schools. Furthermore, it will open this opportunity to families who cannot currently afford private education. Public schools across the U.S. offer Hebrew as part of their world language offerings. In Bergen County, the Northern Valley Regional High School at Emmerich, the NVD, is the latest to join the trend, starting this academic year, while Tenafly and Presskill school districts are currently on an advanced stage of considering adding Hebrew to their world language programs. Even though Hebrew is a new program in NVD, the interest level among students is so high that they already offer 4 different levels of Hebrew classes, including an honors level class. There are currently several NJDOE certified Hebrew teachers in our area. With over 250 Hebrew educators within commuting distance of our district, we believe more teachers will show interest once this program is implemented, thereby providing a continued support for Hebrew education at Fairlawn for years to come. Therefore, we are seeking the support of the Fairlawn Board of Education members and administrators for adding Hebrew language studies for the Fairlawn World Language Curriculum, and would appreciate your support in making this important and valuable addition to the diversity of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mildred Shower, Fairlawn resident. Just a quick.
Sign in.
Yes.
Please sign in.
So I know this is non-agenda items, but I just wanted to ask a general question, if I may. Congratulations to Mrs. DeFranco, obviously, but so who's gonna?
Mr. Franco.
Okay, so.
Nothing's changing.
Okay.
We have a plan.
Okay. All right, I like the plan. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Aviv Axman, a Fairlawn resident and a parent. I stand before you today to address an issue that is close to my heart and important to our community, the petition to add Hebrew language as a world language to our schools. Hebrew is not just an ancient language revived into modern usage. It is a conduit for cultural heritage, religious understanding, and historical exploration. It forms the core of the Jewish heritage, acting as a living bridge connecting generations and continents, and providing access to a vast repository of historical texts. Fairlawn is home to a substantial Jewish population, and yet our education system does not offer our children the opportunity to learn and communicate in their ancestral language. This deficiency does not only disconnect them from their roots and hampers their ability to engage with family members, but it also places them at a disadvantage in accessing the wisdom embedded in historical Hebrew texts. In light of the disturbing rise in anti-Semitism locally and nationwide, our inaction in this context can be interpreted as silent acceptance of this horrifying trend. By introducing Hebrew as a world language in our schools, we are not only recognizing its cultural and historical significance, but also sending a clear, unequivocal message that the Jewish community is an integral, valued part of Fairlawn's social fabric. This is not just a matter of language inclusion. It is a proactive step towards countering the wave of anti-Semitism and fostering the environment of inclusivity and respect. Economically, the current situation weighs heavily on our community. Many families shoulder the additional financial burden of private language education to ensure their children do not lose touch with their heritage. By offering Hebrew in our public schools, we are leveling the playing field, ensuring that every child in Fair Lawn has the same opportunity to learn the language, regardless of their financial status. Therefore, I urge the board to recognize Hebrew as a world language in our curriculum, showing our commitment to equity, cultural identity, and our unwavering stand against discrimination. By doing so, we can strengthen our community and show our kids that we are proud of its multicultural tapestry. Thank you for your time.
My name is Juana Bicol. I live in Fairlawn, and I actually have a question about languages. Do we teach American Sign Language in any of our schools?
I'm gonna answer all the questions at the end, so
Okay,
because,
that's fine. So that would be a language to be considered, and also all the cultures that we have in town, I think they should be considered as well.
Hi, my name is Ethan and I'm a 5th grader at TJ. I'm not here because my mom brought me, but because I actually have something important to say based on my own opinions. I love learning. It's fun for me, especially when it comes to languages. I already know some Hebrew, but I want to learn more. Way more. It's an interesting language, but more than that, it's a part of who I am. It's a part of my family and my history. A lot of my friends here in Fairlawn are Jewish, just like me. We all wish we could study Hebrew at school, just like we study Spanish, French, or Chinese. We wish we could learn about our history, our culture, our traditions, not just from our parents and grandparents, but from our teachers too. But you know what else? It's not just about us. If other kids at school could learn Hebrew, they might understand us better. They could see that being Jewish is not just something weird or different, but it's something special and worth knowing about. Recently, I've noticed that some people don't like us very much because we're Jewish. I don't think that's fair. If everyone learned a little bit of Hebrew, maybe they'd be less likely to judge us or say mean things. They'd see us as friends, not strangers. Please, let us have the chance to learn Hebrew in school. It would mean a lot to my friends and I. Thank you.
Hello, Board of Education Directors. My name is Noah Yarimi. I'm 11 years old and I live in Fairlawn. I would like to share with you why adding Hebrew as a world language selection would benefit our community. The Hebrew language is extremely important to our family and to many of our Fairlawn friends and neighbors. It is the language of our immigrating parents and many of our relatives near and far. We are trying to learn it at home to be able to communicate with our relatives and friends. It is the language of our ancestors and is the language of the Bible, the Talmud, and many religious scriptures and commentators. As an observant Jew, I would love to have the Hebrew language skills to learn and explore my religion scripts in its original language. Furthermore, my siblings and I have to make many sacrifices in order to gain the Hebrew knowledge. My friends and I have to give up after-school activities such as drama, soccer, or dance, and much more in order to gain the knowledge of this language. If we could learn Hebrew in school as a world language option, it would free up our time to do other activities that interest us. Too many people in our community are learning a world language that isn't their preferred choice and often need to decide whether to develop their other talents and interests or their Hebrew language skills. I'm asking you to consider adding Hebrew as a world language selection to let us make gains in our academic and personal lives. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Aviv, and I think learning Hebrew will give me the chance to communicate with my relatives in Israel and understand their experiences. This connection will help me better appreciate my family's history and traditions, as well as develop a deeper understanding of my own identity. Offering Hebrew language education in our schools would enable students like me to connect with our roots and strengthen our ties to our heritage.
Hi, my name is Levy and I am in 8th grade. I think it would be really cool to learn Hebrew at school. Some of my friends and family speak Hebrew, and when they talk to each other, I would love to understand and join in their conversations. If we had Hebrew in our school, we could all talk and understand each other better.
Hi, I'm Leora Stelter. I live in Addison Place. So I'm part of the group that initiated the petition that we had, and I wanted to speak to you. I'm also a teacher. I teach at Schechter, and I think that the most important thing that we want to bring forward is the fact that having a world language that connects to home creates an amazing connection point between school and home. And that is something that all of us want. Everything we want for our kids is that what they learn in school and what they do in their experience is relevant to their home, and they can bring it and connect with between the two. We have mapped out the process. We've learned how they did it in other districts. It is doable. We have it all lined out, and we are very happy to share it with you in any form that makes sense. And this really speaks to us. And we know that there are many cultures in Fairlawn. That's one of the reasons that people choose Fairlawn. It's because there are multiple cultures here. And we encourage anyone who wants to do this process and speak and bring a crowd and talk about it, let's do it. Because there are districts nearby that have 7, 8, 9 languages offered. And that is because they see the value in having more than 2 or 3 world languages. Hebrew used to be offered in Fairlawn, but that was a while ago. And sometimes what happens is when a teacher retires, then the program kind of fizzles, and that is a shame because now we have to revitalize it, even though it was part of the world language program. So we would like to have a survey. We talked about surveys today and how important they are because we want to ask our students. We want to know if this is something that is important to students as we think it is. And so that way we can find out if this is something that we could move forward with, and if we have, something to talk about, not for the next school year, but for 2023, 2024. And so
Hi, my name is, I go by V, my name is Dora Ben-Sadi, and I don't have anything written. But I do want to say that I'm a parent to 2 kids, one who graduated the year before and now finishing his first year in college, and another 6th grader at Memorial School. I live on the other side of town. Up until 4th grade, my daughter was in the private Jewish education. Number one, it strained us financially really bad, and number 2, she was lonely. Yes, she learned Hebrew. Yes, she learned about the Jewish heritage, but then she was lonely. She had no neighborhood friends. She didn't know anyone from the neighborhood. The weekend came and she had nothing to do. We therefore took her out of that system and brought her to the public education system. She has French, she's thriving, she's happy, but now she misses on the Hebrew and the Judaism. And I don't think it needs to be a sacrifice. I think we pay enough taxes to offer that program. And I think it's really important that the program offered at our school go together with the community that we have here. So if we have a large enough population that has the need for a particular language, I think we have the duty to offer it. Thank you, and my son will speak.
Hi, how's everyone doing today? Some of you people may already know me, but if you don't, I'm the son of V. My name is Gavin Sadi. I recently graduated Fairlawn High School and I now attend Rutgers. At Rutgers, we're extremely encouraged to join clubs that interest us, and I've been fortunate enough to wander across a number of Jewish organizations. The only problem, however, is at these Jewish organizations, a lot of the people speak Hebrew, and I don't really know that much Hebrew. In a community that is very highly dense in Jewish Americans and Russian Americans, I think it would only be fitting to implement Hebrew into the Fairlawn's education system. I think it would give a lot of the students a wider variety of freedom to choose what they really truly want to learn. But yeah.
You can pull the mic down too. There you go.
He likes being that tall.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom. Many people in our town speak Hebrew, and I think that we important to learn it too. It's more than just a language. Help us connect with our community, understand our friends better, and learn more about different cultures. It would be awesome if we could learn Hebrew in our school.
My name is Roy. And as a student at Fairlawn High School, I want my school to provide equal opportunities for everyone to learn about their heritage and connect with their roots. Offering Hebrew as a world language would make a significant difference in the lives of many different students in the community and create a more inclusive and diverse learning environment for all. By embracing the rich cultural heritage of our town, we can foster a greater sense of understanding, respect, and unity among our diverse student body, ensuring that everyone feels welcome and valued.
Good evening. My name is Oded Greenstein. I live in Fairlawn, on Elaine Terrace. I have 3 kids in the Fairlawn public education system. We went through Radburn, TJ, and high school. And my kids their ages range from 3 to 14. I think Fairlawn has an amazing education system. I'm so happy that my kids are fortunate to be part of the system. We lived in New York before, so we can compare. And I think the system should recognize the need and answer and meet the need, especially when there is a community asking for it. I also want to echo the financial difficulties of sending kids to private schools to learn their Hebrew, to learn their language, their heritage. And I think it would be amazing for us parents if our kids could learn that in the public system. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, my name is Eden Shalom, and the reason why I think that we should start learning Hebrew in our Fairlawn public schools is because it would prepare students for future opportunities such as studying abroad or pursuing a career related to Jewish culture, history, or organizations. By offering Hebrew as a world language in our schools, we can equip students like me with the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in an increasingly interconnected world. My name is Guy Knop, and I think that we should add Hebrew to our schools because having Hebrew language education available in our school would allow me and my peers to explore our cultural identity and create a stronger sense of belonging within our community. This would help us feel more connected to our heritage and empower us to share our unique perspective and experiences with others, promoting a more inclusive and diverse learning environment.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So I was not planning to talk, but I just want to give you an example. I'm a resident in Fairlawn since 2007. My wife Karen is here. I have 3 kids, Noah Dimore, Eli Dimore, and Leah Dimore, and they're all in the school system. One of the reasons we live in Fairlawn is because my wife chose here. So she said it's a great school system. I have no clue. I follow my wife, and she's right.
Smart man.
I can give you that. The example I want to give you is my daughter left the school system for a year to live in Israel because she wanted to learn the Hebrew. So, and she's back because she loved the school system in Fairlawn. And she's going to go tomorrow to look at Rutgers and hopefully Penn State as well. So it's all because of the school system here. We love the school system, but we want some variety. There is only 3 languages. There's French, Spanish, and Chinese. Other towns have more. We had it in the past and we want it back. So please consider that. You can hear all those beautiful people talking over here and the kids. So we're trying to really stay in the community and not spend over outside. My son did not play sport for a long time because we pushed him to learn Hebrew. Now he's doing all the sports. Everything. Volleyball, basketball, soccer is in every sport. But I want him to speak Hebrew. I don't want him to leave the school system for a year to go to Israel to learn Hebrew and come back. I want him to stay here. So please consider that, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Devor Baxman. I'm a Fairlawn resident and recent Fairlawn High School graduate. I graduated from Fairlawn 2 years ago, and I moved on to university. And at my university, I've been having a great time, but one of the things that I found myself doing is taking Hebrew classes. I'm a heritage Hebrew speaker, but I have not had as much of an opportunity to hone my language skills as I would have liked during my childhood. I did go to private Hebrew school when I was younger, but that program ended when I was 12. And since then, I've had limited opportunities to hone my language skills. A lot of people here have discussed about the cultural significance of Hebrew as a language, and those concerns are very, very important. But there's another factor to learning Hebrew that I think is important to discuss, and that is its status as a tech language. Israel, where Hebrew is the national language, is a leading country in the tech and startup sectors. Israel is a producer of many complicated engineering products. Israel is a home to science, technology, engineering, and many other programs that students at Fairlawn hope to move into in terms of their careers. When I attended Fairlawn High School, I had many friends who went through STEM programs, who attended classes in the Fairlawn Science department, and now have moved on to university. And one thing that they struggle with is crossing the language barrier. I've noticed that many of my peers who are in engineering programs or other STEM-related programs struggle with language barriers between different countries. While a lot of STEM programs are in English, mostly in the United States, many other countries are homes to important tech sectors, and it is difficult for many of these students to communicate with people from these countries because of the language barrier. Israel, where many people speak Hebrew, is one of the countries that many of my engineering peers find themselves in contact with because of its ties to STEM and tech-related sectors. I believe that teaching our students Hebrew is important and would allow them to be able to progress further in their careers. I believe that Hebrew is a very important language, not just because of its biblical and historical significance, but because of its present-day significance. I think that by allowing our students to learn Hebrew, we can give them an edge STEM programs and in all sorts of other programs, because Hebrew has important implications in a variety of sectors. It's an important
30
language
seconds.
in current technological sectors, and it's an important historical language too. There's a lot that I think that people can learn by studying Hebrew, regardless of whether or not they're Jewish, and I think that Fairlawn should adopt a Hebrew program in order to reflect this current situation.
Hi, my name is Maya Vaxman-Magid. I'm a sophomore at Carnival High School, and I'm here to talk about adding Hebrew to our school's language program. I come from a Jewish Israeli-American family. Hebrew isn't just a language to me. It's a big part of who I am. It helps me build a strong connection to my heritage and makes me feel proud of where me and my family come from. But when I'm at school, it feels like that part of me isn't acknowledged, almost like it doesn't matter. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of Jewish kids at my school who feel the same. Many of us have family in Israel, but we don't get the chance to learn Hebrew here. We're missing out on being able to communicate with our relatives, read our history, and truly understand our culture. High school is tough enough, but when you add being singled out or treated differently because you're Jewish, it gets a lot harder. In a time when anti-Semitism is an almost daily issue, not just around the world, but here in Fairlawn specifically, having Hebrew in our school would send a message. It would tell us Jewish students that our culture is important and that it's respected and valued. Including Hebrew in our curriculum would show us that our school stands with us, and not just with words or signs that tell us that our town is proud to be stigma-free. If we truly believe in equality and inclusivity, we should be willing to take action to show it. So I'm asking you, the board, to consider adding Hebrew to our language program. It's more than just a class to us. It's a step towards understanding, acceptance, and respect. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ariel, and I go to Fairlawn High School. I have experienced anti-Semitism at school, and I believe that teaching Hebrew would help educate my peers and promote understanding and respect for my Jewish culture. By offering Hebrew language education, we can create an environment where students from all backgrounds can come together to learn about and appreciate our shared history and traditions. This inclusive approach will not only help to combat anti-Semitism, but also foster a stronger sense of community within our school.
Anyone else?
Hi, good morning. Hey, good evening. My name is Mariana Gurovic. As a parent of a student in Fairlawn High School and proud member of the local Jewish community, I want to address the need to inclusion of Hebrew in our school language program. We, the Jewish residents of Fairlawn, make up a significant portion of this town diversity, and yet our children do not have school-based opportunity to learn Hebrew, a language deeply tied to the cultural heritage. Hebrew is more than a language. It's a connection to our roots, our history, and our identity. Also, offering Hebrew would foster mutual understanding among our diversity community. It would provide a platform for non-Jewish students to learn about our culture, helping bridging gaps and build stronger relationships. Perhaps most importantly, in the climate of rising anti-Semitism, both nationally and here in Fairlawn, the inclusion of Hebrew in our school curriculum would send a strong message. It would show that our community stands for respect, acceptance, and cultural inclusivity. I urge you to consider this request, not just on behalf of my family, but for all families who believe in diversity, inclusivity, and the vital importance of heritage. Thank you.
My name is Jack. I live here in Fairlawn. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are graduate. One is just graduated from college, and one is right now in Israel. And I have a little one in 5th grade. I'm also the head of the Israeli Scouts that we have here in Fairlawn. We have about 100 kids that come and meet every Sunday. They volunteer in their time, and they're all from Fairlawn, from all the school. We have from the elementary, from middle school, and the high school. The high school kids are their counselors, and they're volunteering the time on Sunday. They're in the middle of the week, and I can see the differences and their struggle with Hebrew. We're trying to support that, but I think it's a very important thing for them to actually learn it in the public school and not just know it if you only go into private school or if you go privately to a private teacher. I think it's very important to them. It's part of who they are, it's part of their identity. It's also a way for them to contact their grandparents. Sometimes the grandparents, just speak Hebrew, and so it's something that's very dear to their heart. And I can see that by they're coming every Sunday, and the other ones also in the middle of the week, and they're enthusiastic, and they're to contribute to this community. So it's considered.
Anyone else? Can you up?
Can I go again?
Craig?
You can, no, you got, limited on time, but yes, you can.
Craig Miller, Brown Coat Terrace. I just want to say congratulations to the acting superintendent. You got medium shoes to fill. Not big ones, but medium.
It's a tough crowd. I like the kids better, Craig.
I
No offense.
like the school system.
But see, that's the difference. If you said that to some of our other superintendents, you would've got the
Well,
stare. Okay, but he takes it like it is. That's why he was awesome.
There's some that I like, really.
You know, exactly.
I'm glad to see the lights are up at Sasso Field. And I also wanted to congratulate the committee that did the Spring Fling Carnival. That place was packed Friday night. I mean, you couldn't move. Even though I even showed up in the rain on Saturday and was gonna be drafted to be a volunteer next year. And I said, under one condition, I had to change the title of it. Instead of having dunk the superintendent, can we have it say dunk the former? In some way, shape, or form, I'm getting them here.
At that point, I won't mind, Craig.
That's it, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening again, still Mel. So I am very impressed with the turnout tonight. It was wonderful to hear so many kids, students, as well as parents, obviously, speak about something that they're passionate about. Anytime there's passion in our community, I feel like we're somehow heading in the right direction. Now, while I am very impressed and I respect the powerful message that came across tonight, because I heard it loud and clear, I've been sitting here and I've been Googling some of our neighboring towns that really offer 2 to 3 languages, most of which offer 2, some offer 3, mostly offer Spanish and French, and the third language has varied between Mandarin, Latin, or German. I haven't really seen any other districts offering Hebrew. So that would actually be, we would be breaking the seal on that one. But English is actually my third language. When I immigrated to this country, my parents spoke 2 languages at home. English was not one of them. I learned to speak Italian and Spanish at home from my family, and I learned about our culture at home. I don't know why I'm saying this, except that I don't understand where the line is between school and home responsibility and obligations. My child is also often not excluded, but cannot attend after-school activities, including sports, drama, clubs, whatever, because he has to take different classes that he needs to pick up on things that other children pick up naturally in their environment. And that's a choice that my husband and I made together based on what we thought would benefit him the most long-term. That being said, there are so many beautiful cultures in and around our town, and I think it would be unfair to pick one over the other. My children also have relatives that speak Hebrew and Italian, and while they don't learn those languages at home or in school, I feel that there are other languages that will benefit them long-term. Finally, my last comment is I, again, sat here Googling, and the top 10 languages that I'm seeing that are taught at the public schools are Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, German, French, Arabic, Russian, Portuguese, Japanese, Hindi, and Italian. So I would like for my children to actually be exposed to any of those languages that the state of New Jersey feels that they would be able to carry forward into their educational and professional careers down the line also. So if we're going to expand by one language, maybe we can expand by 3, 4, or 5.
Time is up.
Recently said, don't rely on Google.
Excuse me, we're not having a comment back and forth, ma'am. All right, what? You're allowed to go back up, but we're not doing it publicly. And we're not gonna go back and forth, so just make your comments, I'd appreciate it, thank you.
I'm not saying we should disregard any of the other languages that should be taught. I think Italian, Hindi, other languages I think that are very prevalent in this community, I think they should be included. I don't think that there's any reason that they shouldn't. But for a community that does have a high presence of Jewish Americans and a lot of turnout for these Jewish and Hebrew stuff that they want to include, I think it would be nice to have Hebrew, but if you want to have any other language be included, I think you should do the same thing as us. And have the rest of the people that want to have these languages come and be brought into this education system be allowed to do that. So,
At this time, does anybody have anything else to speak about? Okay. Mr. Garcia is going to answer the question. Are you going to speak? Okay. This is the last speaker. I'm not trying to, but we got the message. No, I'm not saying that in a bad way. We got the message. I mean, it's the same thing, so. Is there anybody?
No.
You have one question, right?
Pretty much. No, there's nothing.
My name is Sarit Ginsburg, and we live in Verdun Avenue.
I'm sorry, what was your first name again?
Sarit Ginsburg.
Thank you.
I'm going to speak from the other side. I was, until last year, was the principal of a Jewish school. And I myself tried to convince all the people here to join the school, and we have some teachers, some educators, and some former students of mine. It's not easy. School is not easy. But I think because the Kehillah, the community here, don't have an answer because Jewish education is expensive. And I myself, my older daughter was in the public, but because I wanted the Hebrew and the Jewish education, I took her out of the public, and I spent so much money. But I think our Keilah, our community here, deserve to have something, an answer, as for at least the Hebrew language in the public. And as educators, many of us here also, when we decide, and we're hoping that you decide to help the community here, we can help to implement the Hebrew language into the system. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, there was one question. Anybody else have to speak on anything else? Okay. There was one question. Mr. Nasir, do you mind answering that question, please?
What about Hebrew?
The
26 about Hebrew.
No,
I'm going to go through all of them if you don't mind.
That's fine, but I'm saying, I know the one woman asked a question at the very beginning.
Well, there's really like 3 questions, but 30 of you. So I've been keeping a tally and writing everybody's name down. So first, I'll save Hebrew for last. We do not have ASL as a sign language class offered here. We do have an ASL club after school. So that we do have. And everything else is Hebrew. All right. So Mel, to answer your question, and it was said here, Northern Valley Regional is the only other district in Bergen County that I'm aware of right now that offers Hebrew, and I spoke with Dr. Santana there as well about this. So, thank you first, and thank you to our students. So eloquently spoken, and really, great job, every single one of you. It was great, it was great. And we've had many conversations about Hebrew, many of us in this room already this year. And thank you for teaching me so much. I really do appreciate it. Yes, Fair Lawn is a unique and diverse community, a very linguistically diverse community. There is a lot going on here. Hebrew not being the only language, obviously, but Hebrew being the most prevalent language in this room tonight. So let's speak about that. It's a process. It really is. And even though, when we spoke over the last couple of months, it may have been no for now. And it's no for now because it's such a process. And it's something that the community, something that the schools, something that the Board of Education, the committees, the Education Committee needs to do their homework on and say, how are we going to move in this direction if this is the direction we're going in? At this point, though, it's still the infancy stages, because when it was brought up, let me back up. If you were to create any new program in education, they say it takes a good year. You can't just roll something out in April and May and say, all right, we're gonna do it for September. Because when you do it, you wanna do it the right way. And there's a lot of decisions that go into that. Scheduling. Where are we gonna fit it into our schedule? Because we are such an academic-driven school district, which you can see by our students and how well they're doing, what gives? Are we getting rid of a language? Are we adding a language? Are we keeping it status quo? These are all the questions that we need to flush out. There's budget implications. We need to include it in the budget. Is it 1 teacher, 2 teachers, 3 teachers? There's what other languages are out there? We heard about ASL. And but I receive emails, yes, you are here, and thank you for coming. But there's also a lot of parents that are emailing us about other languages as well. And is it just Hebrew? Are we looking at ASL? Are we looking at another language? Are we looking at Italian? Because these are the languages that we get emailed out about all the time. So we want to make sure that we don't marginalize one community while looking at another community. So I think the most important thing is that this conversation continues, but we do it the right way. What does our job market look like? What careers? How do we prepare our students for tomorrow? After all, that is the slogan of Fair Lawn. So how do we make sure that our students are the leaders of tomorrow and making sure that they're equipped for the future with potentially the right language that we could offer? So it's just, this is not a no, this is not a yes, this is just not right. There's just so much more that goes into offering a language. So I encourage the dialogue. I encourage the new year, the education committee, the administration, the world language teachers. I encourage the honest, open dialogue about, do we decide to add another language for Fair Lawn? Do we decide to add 2 more languages for Fair Lawn? Maybe it's Hebrew and Italian, Hebrew and sign language, or something else. But for now, obviously for the 23-24 school year, it's just way too premature with September right around the corner, which is very scary that September is right around the corner. But I think this is a conversation for the future that I think people should say, is this the right, are we offering enough languages? Should we offer more? Are we good with status quo? But for now, though, this is such a process that needs to be worked out. I think this conversation needs to continue.
Can you tell us what the process
This is,
Can you say what the process would look like?
I just did, and this is not really a back and forth. This was public comment, and I will address them, and I just did. It is a process involved many different stakeholders, including the Board of Education, administration, teachers, the community, about what, do we want to make a change, or are we happy with the status? Excuse me, I'm not gonna go back and forth.
I got it, we're not going back and forth. Let the superintendent finish his comments, please. We listened to everybody, now, chance to listen to him.
Those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. All right. Anybody have any other public we didn't get the board comments yet, relax. Anybody else got any other public comments?
We're done with.
Yeah, we're done with them.
Okay, we're done with public comments. All right, so now we'll go to, board comments. Mark.
Yes, first I want to thank all of you for taking time, coming out here tonight and expressing your opinions. As everyone was speaking, I was jotting down notes all over the paper, so please bear with me. Actually, I'm not looking at this through the eyes of individual families saving money. I know that 2 of my grandchildren attend a Shar school in New City. I know they pay a lot of money, but I know the curriculum is totally different. I know there is more than just Hebrew taught at a Shar, as any parochial school that's Jewish. Just bear with me one moment over here. I know that the education that you get in Hebrew school does not really satisfy teaching Hebrew whatsoever, and I know it is watered down. And I know you're concerned for wanting your children to learn the Hebrew language. At this point, I'm, as I said, not looking at it through your saving money, but I am looking at it through a lens of hopefully creating respect for the Jewish people, hopefully for combating the anti-Semitism, which is so prevalent not only at Rutgers, as you're all aware, in our city, in our state, in our country, and possibly introducing the Hebrew language back into Fairlawn may be one of the aspects that can curtail this anti-Semitism. What I'm asking this board to do is possibly create a survey as was suggested. That's number one.
Thank you.
Doing an audit on world language, like we've done audits on technology and audits on special ed, to see if there are ways that we can incorporate Hebrew in the high school and possibly start it really in the elementary school as well, and of course in the middle school. And so I'm asking that the board take into consideration looking into this further, not giving a no vote today or a yes vote today, but looking into this further, continuing the conversation as to whether or not we should include Hebrew as a world language. And yes, whoever spoke about having additional languages, I think that audit may show that, yes, there is a need for additional languages, especially sign language, which is so needed today. So those are my recommendations, that we have an audit done, a survey done, and what Nick is saying is absolutely correct. This is not a 1 month or a 6-month procedure in implementing a new language in the school system. It takes time, and when you want to do it, as he said, you want to do it correctly the first time and not have to make your corrections year after year to get it correct. So if the board does go with implementing Hebrew, please be patient. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys all for coming, especially our students. It was amazing to hear from all of you. I think the thing that struck me most was to hear your firsthand accounts of hate. And that's what sticks with me. My family in particular has also experienced this hate, and I do think that comes from a lack of education. This takes time. This is a process. We are such a diverse community, and I do agree with Mark that we need to consider everyone. You guys are a very large group and community that are here tonight, and I'm hopeful that the same way the community that was asking for additional holidays off, and maybe you guys saw the value in that you are here, that those other communities come out too. One thing that is sticking with me now as both someone who is raising 2 Jewish boys as well, and I am in the school system, it is really hard to balance. So please understand that I think all of us understand that life takes balance, but it also takes time. I do hope that you will consider in that time frame, because it is a slow process, a Jewish language and culture club, which I do believe was offered by our administration. Because if this is going to take time, that is a start. And that is something anyone can be a part of. I think we're gonna find that, let's say there is a Hebrew language brought to our high school setting, you're going to find the people that are gravitating toward that are going to be the people that A, have a passion for it, have a background in the culture, or, like you said, sir, are interested in potentially doing work with people who speak the language. You're not gonna find the people who have hate in their heart taking the Hebrew language, but they might consider coming to a culture club or a Hebrew language and culture club. So please bear with us and consider this. Second, unrelated, my brain is so foggy because I am on the Spring Fling committee, and I spent the last 70-something hours of my life living, eating, breathing Carnival. And this is not something that was just this past weekend. We have been eating, living, breathing this since January. So I just want to say special thanks, and I'm going to read a really long list, and if I butcher anyone's name, I apologize. Nicole Welsh, Adam Ray, Flora Asman, Matt Willie, Ellen Jubel, Rita Colani, Carolyn Gilson, Jess Laubner, Anamari Service, Andy Sanowick, Jackie Traeger, Chris Allen, Michelle Kuliev, Mike Umstead, Ravi Giletti, Robin Coban, Ruth Garcia, Michelle Koenig, and myself were there all weekend. And we've been there, going on since January. But there's 15, 16, 17 of us that are behind the scenes. But at the end of the day, the most important people are those people that volunteer and are in those game booths. So I beg you, get involved. I understand that this doesn't necessarily benefit every single, student in our community, but what an incredible community event. I see so many faces sitting here tonight. I've seen so many faces in our community all week that were there this weekend. And the more we are together, the more fun we have, and the more we see how different we are, but we still live in this community together. So we can be different and cohabitate and enjoy one another, and that's where the hate changes. So it does go with a class, but it also goes with just being a part of a community and getting involved. So thank you to this group of people, thank you to the Millings and TJPTA and any other community member that got involved or joined us or came and had fun, because it was an amazing weekend, and special thanks to Ed Bertolini, who got in a game booth every single night. There were a ton of people at this table. Ed just happened to come back night after night. So I'm giving him a special thanks.
Lisa.
I'm going to echo Mark's thoughts on the survey. Thank you all for coming out tonight. These kids are amazing public speakers. It was great to hear the voice from them as well as the parents themselves, and I thank you very much for that. I'm one of the older people on this board, and I also graduated from Fairlawn High School in 1977. And in 1977, we had a Hebrew teacher, and he also taught American history. We had a German teacher who also taught Algebra 2. She happened to be my Algebra 2 teacher. We had an Italian teacher that taught Spanish, and French and Spanish. So we had a lot more languages at the high school level than we're seeing now. And I'm very open to a survey to see what's out there and be able to be back where there's a lot more choices. I just want to say that Dr. Bickler, who was the Hebrew American history teacher, I knew him personally and professionally, and he just recently passed away. He was from Fairlawn, from Shomer Torah, and he just recently passed away within the last couple of months. And I remember him fondly. And it's just something that we have to do to move, just take that step forward to start the process. So whatever we have to do, based on the board, we'll take. I'll be part of that process to move everything forward. And I thank you again for coming.
Joe.
I want to echo my fellow board members in thanking you all for coming out tonight. This is really where we can hear the concerns of the community by coming to the meetings. Hopefully all these students have finished their homeworks, because by the time you get home, it will be late and time for bed. And we hope to see all of you next month, right? Because this is just a great community forum to come to. I do have a few questions that would hopefully down the line to simply learn about the history of Hebrew being offered in this community, when we had it in the district, if we could get that information. I would be interested in exploring additional languages, doing an audit, as Mr. Stendel had highlighted, as I'm sure there are many languages also that are lacking currently in our district, and that there is interest by our students. I will highlight that I was a student when the Chinese language was added to the curriculum. It took over 5 years for it to be complete, since you need to go level by level, grade by grade, to make sure you have students that have been taught that language in the classroom and up to the standards, such as Chinese 1, Chinese 2, and making sure that it continues. So it is a very long process for a language to be added. But I think if we start now, we can slowly make strides to fill the gaps of what is needed in our district. A couple comments. Off topic. Thank you. This weekend, the Carnival, it was great being in the booth with Dr. Bertolini for one night. I did not stay all of the nights. I apologize. But the rainy night, the night that it was slow, it was a good night there. And thank you to all of the volunteers and the parents that made that happen. And for all the people that came out and supported the Carnival to make sure that the fundraising was a success. The Masks did an incredible performance of the bookstore over the weekend that I got to see. Great job. Always amazed by the talent. Though I shouldn't be amazed, because every time I'm blown away by our students in the drama and theater groups. And then I also want to congratulate the Bergen Community College graduates that graduated last week that were part of the early college cohorts. So where they go to our schools in the high school and to Bergen Community College to get some credits. They just graduated with their associates before they graduate with their high school diploma next month, walking across Sasso Field. Being there was awesome, and there were 19 Fairlawn graduates as part of that. So. And that's a great way to save money for those, because college prices are quite expensive. And my last comment I will make, as it was mentioned during the student reps report, is the new Board of Ed rep. I would love for this board to explore having the student rep sit on the board. As a member of this board, the new law has stated that every district requires a Board of Ed member, and we've been having that for a long time, since the 60s. So we've been well ahead of that curve, but I'd love to see a student voice on this board right now. When we have comments such as this, the language, that they can bring back to student government and get a poll from the students. So as we enter the next term and potentially would love to see a student rep sit on our board with us. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And to answer Mr. Boldowski's question, the last time we offered Hebrew in Fairlawn was the year 2000 when the teacher retired. So that's just giving you. I think we should do a survey. I think it's important. I also think we should think about, I think it's important to have languages that the community actually wants to learn. So I think that's an important. To go off topic, I just wanted to say thank you to all the PTOs and PTAs for hosting all the lunches for Teacher Appreciation Week in the past week. Thank you.
Mike. Thank you all for coming. I actually took Hebrew at Fairlawn High School in 1980 with Dr. Bickler. Dr. Bickler was one tough guy. I spent my...
You didn't rice him. Watch what you said.
He's not alive right now, unfortunately.
I'm joking.
Doctor, you know, from nursery school to second grade, I was a yeshiva bacher. I then came to public school once I came to Fairlawn. Went to Hebrew school 3 days a week. And I didn't know anything that Dr. Bickler was teaching me, which is a very interesting comment. To this day, I know how to read the language. I know how to read the language, yeah. Oh, yeah. I grew up Jewish. I grew up going to synagogue, and I could read the language fine. I could, I can't understand what I'm reading. I could understand, maybe 24 words. So I understand about languages, and I understand the need for languages. I understand the need for certain languages. To what Mel was saying, I understand that we have to look at languages like you guys brought up tonight, and then maybe we have to look for languages that are needed in to what you were saying in business, etc. Because there's a lot of languages in Fairlawn. I believe our old superintendent, Bruce Watson, used to give a figure of like 55 languages spoken in Fairlawn.
27.
27?
Yeah, it was 27. Actually, 3 years ago, it was 32.
Okay.
For a fact.
A lot. So, again, it is a process to look. I just looked at something that Tenafly had put out about languages, different languages that are used for businesses and stuff like that, and it was sort of the same list I think that Mel used. But I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to see where it goes, and maybe there'll be a medium. I don't know. It's a hard language. Hebrew is a very hard language to learn. Well, you say that because you grew up with it, but thank you.
I just want to thank everybody. A couple things. I want to thank everybody for coming. It is the right way to do things, okay, not through social media. I want to thank a bunch of the parents that said how amazing this school district is, because it is an amazing school district, not according to some people, again, on social media every day, but it is, okay? And that's why people do move here, and that's why we've gone and gotten so crowded, because people want to be in the Fairlawn School District. We will take a look at this. It is a process, and as those three people have said, it is multiple languages, so there's people, I can tell you right now, when I got on the board, before I was on the board years ago, I wanted Italian, okay? And they put Chinese in because that was the language that was being spoken in the business world. Now, there's a lot of different languages that are being spoken in the business world, but we will look at it. The other thing is I want to thank the PTAs and PTOs as they do every year. They do a phenomenal job all year round. They always take the teachers. In the beginning of the year, they give them a welcome back breakfast, and then at the end of the year, appreciation. We couldn't do a lot of the things in the district that we do for these children, and what I mean by that is that when they do have a function, I encourage everybody out there in the TV land, get out there and support them, okay? When it's a cake sale or bake sale, even if you don't bake, go to the 7-Eleven, buy a box of donuts and put it in there, they'll sell it, okay? Because it all goes back to the kids. And lastly, the carnival was phenomenal. I did work Saturday night. I was in the candy wheel. It's amazing how many kids want to negotiate with you for 3 spins. You know, I've had kids, well, if I give you $1, can I, no. If I lose, do I get another shot? I go, that's why it's called gambling. One kid said to me, gambling's bad for you. I says, then don't play. But I will tip my hat to that committee, because I know firsthand, my mom ran a carnival for 12 years by herself with about 4 committee members. So I grew up around the carnival, so I know the amount of time and effort goes into it, and every year it's great. I'm happy to say they had 2 great days opposite, and Saturday night got pretty crowded, even when the rain slowed down. There was people walking around and stuff like that. The only thing I will say, you gotta get a Zeppelin booth next year. I don't wanna hear the carnival guy brings his own food. I want a Zeppelin booth.
The cake was good. Only 2 claps for the Zeppelin.
Get an IE funnel cake.
So anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming, and everybody have a great week. Real quick, Mike, because we got to
this is real quick.
I'm
This
being
is
honest.
serious. I know. Listen, and this is for the kids and the parents. If you have any instance of anti-Semitism in our schools, please, please, please tell our administrators, tell a teacher, okay? Because we don't want you to feel bad in our schools. You really, that's what I heard the most of what you said, okay? I'm sorry I didn't say it before. That's what I heard the most, and it makes me really, really sad in this town that happens. So please, 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 don't be afraid to tell someone at the schools, okay? Thank you.
I need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We've got 5 minutes. 5 to 10, I am starting the closed session, so if you're not back, you're out of luck.
I know. I'll be quick as I can.
Buckle up. You're gonna be here for a while.
No, I'm joking. He always says it's 10 o'clock. You go watch.
I have